All right, utilities. So let's take a quick look at my notes here. Um, XEL, American Electric Power, and BIP. We were currently in American Electric Power. Great company, did well for us, made some profit, and paid a decent dividend along the way. And so we are um, just kind of evaluating and looking at what may be better for us. This is a snapshot of kind of what the sector looks like. As you can see, it's quite a few companies in there. Just something really quickly about utilities. I know I've said this before in previous videos, but I'll say it again. Utilities are regulated by the states that they service, and so they know exactly what their profit is going to be every year because the state tells them how much their profit is going to be every year. The utility companies do have the opportunity to ask the state if they can make more money, and they do all the time. And usually it is always contingent upon the company spending more money in the states to upgrade equipment, to upgrade power lines, to do things like wind projects and all these different alternative energy um, programs. Okay, so these companies, stock price doesn't traditionally move around a whole lot. Income and revenue pretty much stays the same, and they pay a nice dividend because the idea is that all of their profits get paid out to shareholders for the most part. So that's kind of what we're looking at with utilities. For us, though, long-term dividend investors, utility companies are great, especially when they appreciate in price. So, XL Energy, number one on the list, has done very well over the last 3 years. BIP is currently what is on the return portfolio, and American Electric Power is what we have been in for at least a year, if not longer. And so you can see the price return there over the last 12 months has not been just super outstanding. Let's take a quick look at what the revenues and profits are. So this is Brookfield, this is BIP, this is what is on our return portfolio. And as you can see, they have steadily increased their revenue over the last 3 years, and net income remains at zero, and that is on purpose. Okay, with a net income of zero means that they do not pay any tax. Okay, all of the profits go to the partners. Okay, this is a partnership, so that means that the company itself does not pay any taxes. All the profits go to the partners, and all of the shareholders will receive a K1 at the end of the year with their share of the profits as a distribution on that tax document. Okay, that's why you see a net profit of zero there. But you see they have, consistently increased their revenues every year. All right, let's take a look now at AEP. Like I said, this is where we were. American Electric Power, again, revenues have not moved around a lot, but they have not been consistent. They've really been up and down. American Electric Power has said over and over again in their earnings calls that this is due to weather. Okay, now we'll take a look if I can find their service map. We'll take a look at their service map to see maybe why that is, but that's been their excuse. It's been weather related. Okay, so net income, even though revenues have moved around quite a bit, their net income has remained stagnant, which again is on purpose. Okay, they know exactly how much money they're going to be making. They have a really good idea of what they're going to be spending, and so that's why you see that consistent 1.92 net profit there. Okay, again, these are utilities, don't move around a whole lot. All right, XL Energy. This is a company that we have actually invested in before. And so very familiar with the company. They've been really great for us. Matter of fact, we sold out of XL Energy because the price appreciated so much that we sold for a profit and then got into something else. As you can see here, they have, you know, I would say consistently made about the same revenue. We do see a slight drop off in 2020. Not sure why that is. If I get a chance, I'll definitely want to listen into the earnings calls and see what they have to say about it. But regardless of where the revenue has been, they have done really well at managing that cash and made sure that they've consistently grown their net income at least over the last 3 years. And so that's really good to see. That lets you know that it's a very well managed company, regardless of what revenues are doing. All right, so let's look at some side by sides here to get an idea of what these companies look like. Do Excel first. Got BIP. AEP. See if this, well, let me just make sure. I might get in trouble by doing that. All right, here we go. All right, so right away, we see that the dividends are about the same. The big difference here is going to be XL Energy, and it's primarily due to the price increase. You see American Electric Power has decreased in price. BIP has actually increased in price, and then XL has increased as well. It looks like BIP has increased a bit more, though, relatively speaking, to XL Energy with a bigger dividend. So that's really good to see. The PE ratio in this case is I'm going to assume it's going to be the same for the rest of these guys. Again, that's because BIP does not have a net profit because the profits go to the partners. So being that XL Energy and American Electric Power is about the same PE ratio, I'm going to assume it's the same for BIP as well. So there's really nothing to say about that other than, relatively speaking, over the last 5 years, their PE has been as high as 79. And it looks like American Electric Power has been as high as 63. XL Energy has been about the same, or at least they're at their highest level now. So we can say that American Electric Power has decreased in value. XL Energy has remained either the same or has increased over time. And I have to assume that BIP is doing the same thing. Again, we have a negative number there because of the not having a net profit. All right, so let's take a look. Net profit's the same. Return on assets really isn't going to be applicable here. BIP, a lot more cash on the books, of course, than these other guys. You don't expect to see that, which leads me to believe that BIP is in a slightly different industry than XL Energy and American Electric Power, and we'll take a look at that here in just a moment to see what these guys really do. Cash to debt, it's the same. Short interest, about the same. There's a bit more for American Electric Power. What that can mean, not sure. The alpha, again, negative for these guys because these are the utility sector is not a high flying sector. You know, they're not known for really having big price increases, but it is nice when you get it. Let's see what else. Everything else about the same. XL Energy, no. American Electric Power has a better beta, which is exactly why we got into American Industrial Power last year. Was because of that beta. It's really what we were going for. This year is more about return though. So looking at last 3 years, BIP has a slightly better return, but really about the same as XEL Energy. And then volatility, we see that BIP moves around a bit more, but again, roughly the same. Here we see that because of that cash on hand, BIP gets a higher management score. But again, that may be due to the sort of business that BIP is in. So let's take a quick look at what that is exactly, because I have a feeling that they're not your typical utility company, but we'll find out here. Right. Down here, everything is overvalued right now. The market is at all-time highs. I think I had this issue before where you think it's going to be in a summary and it's not even on the profile. There we go. All right, so BIP owns and operates utilities, transport, energy, and data infrastructure businesses in North and South America, Europe, and the Asia Pacific. There you go. That's the huge difference. American Electric Power and XEL Energy is primarily in the United States. These guys are more international, and so that go to show you right there. It's just totally different business. It's the utilities segment operates 2,000 kilometers of natural gas pipelines in South America, electricity transmission lines, and natural gas connections and coal export terminals. Okay. The transport segment offers transportation and storage services for freight. Let me blow this up. All right, rails, toll roads, commercial buildings. All right, the data infrastructure segment offers services and critical infrastructure to the media, broadcasting, and telecom sectors, and data storage sectors and infrastructure to enterprise customers. So, what this tells me is that this is not, again, your typical utility. They are in multiple lines of business. The one that's most interesting to me, however, is the data infrastructure segment, where they offer services to media, broadcasting, and telecom sectors, and data storage services. So I have to imagine that what they're doing is they're supplying not the real estate, but probably the electricity connections and the infrastructure, the inside workings and the wiring of these data centers. And these data centers are not necessarily in the United States. I mean, they're working in South America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. So with that being said, I'm surprised that the volatility for this particular company is not a lot higher than what it is, because I mean that is not a utility company, and so that gives me some pause, especially being that I'm not very familiar with this company. It will take definitely some more research and looking into and just following to see kind of where this thing goes. If I go back to, here we go. So we're paying 3 times the book value. Current ratio is a bit under 1. And then compare that to XEL Energy. Paying 2.5 and still a bit under one. So really the same there. Let's see if we can find anything else here. Let's see, not healthcare. Look at utilities. Oh yeah, it's a lot of utilities this year. And all right. Um, so XL Energy made MVP list 3 times. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think that really seals it for me. You know, XL Energy has done better over the last year, right? Um, and they have done just slightly under what BIP has done over the last 3 years. And it's the leading MVP. And again, with our history with Excel Energy, we're going to go with Excel Energy. Again, it's something that we'll continue to monitor. BIP is definitely something that I'm going to read more into because I am curious as to exactly what those data centers are. I mean, I've definitely read stories about data centers moving um, outside the country, not only for cheaper real estate, but also for cheaper labor too. And so, if VIP is supplying these data centers with the infrastructure in order to make that happen, I'm really curious to see is this like a large portion of their business? Is this a small portion of the business? What's really going on there? And then, as far as the transmission lines and the delivering of energy in those other places. Again, that's something else that I have to take a look at because, I mean, U.S. Utility companies are regulated. So what are those contracts and what is that regulation like across the planet? I mean, my goodness, they're in Europe, South America, and Asia Pacific. I mean, the only place that they're not is Africa and the Middle East. So that's a lot to really take a look at, and I'm sure there's a lot of moving pieces. And so I would want to know again, is the bulk of their business in the States, and maybe they just have a little bit of business in these other places, or is the bulk of their business maybe in South America only, and they only have a little bit of business in Europe and Asia? So I don't know. So that's something I have to take a look into, and like I said, just kind of monitor, being that it did make the return portfolio. Um, uh, Let me go back and take a look here because I wonder um, if Excel Energy is like a number two, or is it like way down on the list um, when it comes to the return portfolio. Let's see. Because if it's like number two, then I mean that kind of seals it for me. If it's way down on the list, it's kind of a different thing. So let's go over to the return. There we go. Let's sort this. Okay, yeah, no, it's sorted. All right, so yeah, there you go. I mean, Excel Energy is it's right there, right there. So yeah, we're gonna go with Excel Energy, but I will continue to monitor BIP just to see kind of where it's at. So yeah, that's it. Excel Energy.